Now to our regular series as we look at the state we're in today, part two of a discussion with commentator Professor Ashwin Desai. We're going to focus on cricket and the shambles within Cricket South Africa, the sports governing body. Analyst Judith February, writing last year, the administration of cricket in South Africa has, in her words, been captured by rent seekers who have no interest in the game at all. And it's not only happening, she says, at administrative level, but also within every provincial cricket board and within the CSA board itself. Professor Desai, good afternoon to you and welcome. This is a good illustration, almost a microcosmic illustration of corruption in South Africa. How does cricket find itself in this mess right now? What's happened?
Well, I think it's almost like been a slow unfolding, like probably Mike Atherton test innings. And then it gathers pace later. So we could see the rot setting in, the suspension of the CEO, the very president who oversaw the debacle over the internal 2020 game continues in place. And we almost felt that we just don't have the capacity to come to grips with it, that the CSA was rudderless, just acting on its own. But I think the recent, and as you indicated, the recent events have brought it all to bear. You know, I think it was George Orwell who said that serious sport is war minus the shooting. Well, there's been a lot of bullets been fired at CSA, and the recent resignation of the president and the acting CEO almost is completely worrying that there's nothing happening at headquarters. And why is it a microcosm? Because, you know, all this, underlying all this is the whole controversy about Black Lives Matter and some of the revelations of black cricketers, which brings race back right into the boundaries of cricket.
It's a confluence of everything, really, because, as you rightly say, it's about corruption, but also ugly elements of race and even class in this debate.
Absolutely. And you know, I think that sometimes, I think Melanie Foot wrote, sometimes, you know, you just need to take a bit of time and consider your approach. So when Lungi Ngidi just said, let's discuss this, immediately the old proteas like Pat Simcox and Boeta Dippenaar were attacking Lungi Ngidi. And especially Boeta Dippenaar, it was hilarious. Boeta Dippenaar said, the problems with Black Lives Matter is that it was Marxist and communist inspired. Now, if Lewis Hamilton and LeBron James are, you know, Trojan horses for Marxism and communism, then the people in Hyde Park can sleep quite easily. At the same time, by attacking Lungi Ngidi in this fashion, it didn't allow us to open a real debate about Black Lives Matter. What is the concept of Black Lives Matter in a country where the government is black, the selectors in cricket are black, the governing body of cricket is black? What do Black Lives Matter and what does it indicate about a society? Can we have a discussion of this? So as you rightly indicate, we can talk about black cricketers coming through in the Proteas, but almost all of them come from Model C or private schools. And the very government that is criticizing sports transformation has completely and utterly neglected township school sport. So it opens up a debate that many of us need to enter because it has a whole gallery of things that allow us, that we can consider in South African society.
And it's the pipeline issue which is most concerning, because there's a concomitant impact, because the more this shambles continues, the impact of reaching out for more talent beyond private schools and former Model C schools becomes severely compromised. That has an impact on our performance going ahead, and it's to the detriment of fans in this country.
Well, that's the thing. You know, the problem with, you know, and I've been there in the long room, is that you don't bat for a long innings, right? You want quick hits, you want instant results. So you start to define yourself by the complexion of the national teams. And what is happening below is a rot, but you're able to cover that up by saying we've met the quota. And that's why many of us are asking, and we've been attacked for it, is that quotas and national teams need to be done away with. They need to be ended. And one of the ironies of the whole revelations around BLM is that all the black players who played for the Proteas and play now for the Proteas don't want quotas. In fact, many of us believe that quotas at national level are anti-black. Why? Because you won't drop Rabada or give him a rest because you as an administrator want to meet your quota. And all the black cricketers who have come through, from Makai Mtini, Herschel Gibbs, Ashwin Prince, Rabada now, Temba Bavuma, Hashim Amla, have all been there on merit, and the statistics showed. Why the hell we still want to keep with quotas, racial quotas at national level? It can only be for the advancement of the administrators of CSA.
I want to ask you one more question. At the heart of all of this, it's professional sport. Money bedevils everything. There's no frontline sponsor right now as far as national cricket is concerned. If you were a sponsor right now, wouldn't you run a country mile from this?
Of course, and digging more deeply into that is the fact that we're not going to have international games. The World Cup is already called off in Australia. The IPL has to move to the Middle East. Our provincial games hardly attract any spectators in the first place. So we're in a dire crisis. But sometimes, sponsors enter this terrain because they can't do any worse. And whatever changes in sport, especially in cricket now, can only be seen as something better. And there's a whole love for the game, Jeremy. You know that. Go to a school's game and you'll see parents packed in there. You'll see incredible talent that this country produces despite the best efforts of CSA and the government. So, in a way, sponsors look, James Coetzee talked about this, said cricket is not just a game, it's the truth of life. And sponsors sometimes look for the truth of life. And I think if ever you want to enter sport, and cricket especially, now is the time. You couldn't do any worse.
Truth of life or the truth of lie, I wonder. Ashwin Desai, thank you very much for joining us. Part 3 of The State We're In tomorrow here on Lunchtime. You're live on the programme on ENCA and also on ETV.